So today we're talking about how to take on the first boss in Valheim. Now, in order to do this, we're going to start by looking at what you're actually going to need to take with you for the fight. And here is what I recommend. It is not as hard as you might think it will be. You'll see here what I've got is just leather armor. So we've got the leather helmet, the leather tunic, and of course the leather pants. Now, to get that, you will need deer hides. You're going to need to kill a lot of deer, but you'll need to do that anyway because you're going to need these things, deer trophies. You will need 2 of them in order to summon in the boss. Now, other than that, you can see some things that I've got on me here. In particular, the bow and arrows are very useful, particularly the fire arrows. To make the fire arrows, you will need some resin, some feathers, and some wood. I've also got some normal wooden arrows and also some flint head arrows on me. Taking a lot of arrows is a really good idea, and this brings me on to a point. You'll see these here are selected right now, and I have 93. So if I equip my bow right now and just do a shot, you'll see now I have 92 because I shot that one. If you want to change the arrow that you use, you can simply hover over the one that you want, right click, and now I'm on the flint head arrows, and when I shoot that, you'll see there that's gone from 99 down to 98, so you can select the ones. Fire arrows are definitely the best, and you want to take as many of them with you as you can, but any type of arrows will do good damage, and this is going to be your best attack, is the ranged attack. Now, in order to find where the boss is going to be, you can press M to open up your map, and this is what you're looking for. Alright, this right here, the Eikthyr boss logo like that. That's where you're going to go and fight him. And we'll come on to that in a second, but obviously this is you on the map, so just line yourself up and head on down to fight him. Now, depending on the journey, you're going to want to have some food to take with you. So you'll see here, this is the food that I've got, some raspberries, just to get me there, and if I need to fight anything on the way, and that sort of thing. Now, what I recommend in terms of food for when you're actually going to fight the boss is to eat a cooked meat, a honey, and also a mushroom just before you fight. This will give you quite a big buff in terms of stamina and hit points, which obviously is super important when you're going to do the fight. Now, another thing you might want to consider taking with you is a bit of wood and your hammer, because you may want to make a workbench. The advantage of making the workbench is that you will be able to repair your tools as you go, and your armor and weapons, stuff like that, if you need to. Now, personally, I don't think this is a necessary step. It just depends how you want to go ahead and do the fight. What I'm going to do instead is take a secondary bow here, so that we've got the 2 crude bows at level 1. Of course, one good practice to do is before you set off, do repair all your stuff before you go off. So whether or not you take the workbench is entirely up to you. The final thing to consider before you set off is it is a pretty good idea to have a night's sleep. The reason for that is you will have the rested buff, and also then you'll be fighting the boss more during the daytime, which will make things a little bit easier to see, because it's going to be a little bit dark on your way there. So if you're having to fight different mobs and things on the way, you know, you don't want to get too damaged before you get there. Now, if you're not sure how to sleep yet, because it's not as simple as just making a bed, as you might realize if you've already tried this, I do have a video link down in the description that is a tutorial on how to sleep and also how to set up a chimney. Both are done in that same video. Right now, though, we're going to head on over to the boss area on the map, so we're going to make sure we're lined up here, and we are going to go fight this thing. Once again, these are the items that I have ready to take with me, and I'm actually going to go and repair all this stuff before I go, and the next thing you see will be us starting the boss fight. Okay, so here I am at the first boss altar. Now, of course, depending on your seed, you're all going to have a different area for this, but what I recommend is that you just spend a little bit of time before you fight the boss checking out this area. Now, for me, I'm encumbered a bit because there's water going all the way around here, and being in the water and fighting this guy is a definite no-no. It's just going to make things a lot more difficult. So really, there's only one direction that's going to suit me, and that is once I've spawned it, I want to get myself running off into this area here. Now, what you'll find is if you've got some trees nearby, they can be kind of useful because you can be using your bow, and obviously you cannot equip a shield at the same time as your bow, but you can use the trees as a bit of a shield to the attacks from the first boss. Now, you guys are going to see that in a second, but I just wanted to mention this. It's worth having a little look around, seeing what you've got, and my plan is going to be, once I've spawned him, to bring over to here to the trees and fight him. Now, as there is a boar here, this is why we check things first. What we can do is fight this guy now, because although boars are really easy to kill, particularly, you know, once you're at the level that you're at for fighting the first boss, it's still good to just clear the area of any of them, so you're not dying to a boar when you're fighting the first boss, because let's face it, that is going to suck a little bit. Okay, so now it's time to prepare ourselves for the fight. So the first thing we want to do is look at our food situation. Now, what I suggest you do is eat the honey first, because you'll see there the healing of it is 5 HP per tick. And if we eat that first, that means that during the fight, honey will be the first thing we can then eat again. And if you're struggling during the fight, you want to get as much HP per tick as possible, and so honey is going to be your best food for that at this stage of the game. Then after that, you want to eat the cooked meat, because that's 2 HP per tick, and then finally the mushroom. Now, they'll all help out, but I just recommend doing it in this order. So we're going to go ahead, eat our honey. There we go. Then we're going to go and eat our cooked steak. So there's that one. and finally we'll eat our mushrooms. And then once we've eaten the mushrooms, what we want to do is have the honey there ready to go again. Now I recommend that you have your hotbar set up ready to go as well. So right now I find the keys that are easier to get to are the lower numbered ones, because obviously you're using WAS to move around, your fingers are already there. So food is obviously very important. Our bow is going to be incredibly important. What you should do with the bow is equip it and then press R, and then when we're ready to fight we can simply press R again, of course, to equip that. What you should also do is make sure you've right clicked on your fire arrows, so you are definitely going to be shooting those, and you've got everything lined up here ready to go in the way that you are going to need that. You can see our hit points are now up to 74, which is pretty good. So that's about it, guys, in terms of the preparation we can do. We're going to go make our offering at the altar. We know we're going to be running off this way. Obviously make sure you're at full stamina before you start this fight. Without any further ado, we're going to jump into it. So here we press 8 and he's about to come. So while he's spawning, we can get the heck out of here and get our bow equipped, ready to go, start healing up our stamina, and be ready to fight Eikthyr, I never know which one to do it is, here from the forest. So there we go, looks like he's spawning over there somewhere, and there's his hit points. He is now ready to come at us. So we're going to come back to these trees. He'll find you, don't worry about that. You don't need to worry about hiding from him. He's going to get to you. And here we go. So he's going to charge at you, so have your bow ready and try and land those fire arrows early on. Now you can see I'm not doing much damage here, right? This is, you might think like I'm going to be here forever, and it will take a long time, but this is where the fire arrows can be really useful, because they will ensure that he's on fire, continuing to take damage after you've shot him. So I'm going to go ahead now, keep hiding behind the trees. As you see here, he's struggling to get to me. You do want to stay away from his attacks. Alright, that's more important than worrying about trying. See that attack right there? That's a dangerous attack if that hits you. So yes, you need to hit him, obviously, but make sure you keep far away from him as well. This is going to be a slow and steady battle, guys, when you're doing it first off. I think this is the best way of approaching this. I completed the boss the first time when I did this, and I'm not exactly the best when it comes to PvP, but by using these trees and by keeping a sensible approach of doing this ranged attack, focusing on not taking damage more than focusing on damaging him, that's the way to go. These fire arrows you'll see are so useful. We've already got him down by about a third, almost maybe a quarter of his health, and he's really not getting much on us at all. We've still got 83 hit points at this stage. Now I'm going to go ahead and keep the whole fight on camera so you guys can see the entire thing, as I feel that may help some people. Now what I'm doing here is just going for a bit of a stamina increase, right, so that I'm able to actually shoot him a few times, get away from him, all that sort of stuff. And now we want to run. So when he gets close to you, that's when he can do real damage. I let him get too close there. That was my bad. And this is the thing, when you're fighting him, you will be tempted to do that, to try and get that one extra arrow shot away at him. It's just kind of natural that you're tempted to do that. But I seriously recommend that you get yourself safe first. That should be your primary focus. And by hiding behind these trees and things, you'll see here, he is struggling to get to us. His area of effect attack that he does there is a pretty strong one, of course. Okay, so now we need to run. Now you'll see when he comes at you there, he runs towards you and he'll sort of stop for a little bit before he does his attack, whichever one it's going to be. So you've got a bit of a split second there if you do, and then again I did it there, if you time it just right to get away from him. Now stamina is going to be a bit of an issue throughout this thing, which means you want your shots to be efficient and you want to land them as often as possible. Now this sounds like an obvious tip, but I guess my point is, don't just be taking pot shots trying to get lucky. Try and make sure that when you attack, you're hitting him, and also focus on running away like I did there. I stopped my attack a little bit early so I could run away, get behind some trees, and protect myself. Protection is definitely the focus. Now, as I say, I am going to film the entire fight just because that will hopefully help some of you guys out to watch this entire thing and know a bit of what to expect and all that. You can obviously skip on through the video if you would like to just, if you feel like you've got the point here, and see what happens when we actually defeat him. Okay, so just a little shot there. He's doing his area of effect attack. The area of effect attack is a great time for you to run away and get yourself safe and heal up some stamina. Be careful when he does knock down trees like that, though. Trees can fall on you and you will take damage from that, so that's something to be careful about. Although that is a risk, it is still a much better approach to be in the trees fighting this guy. As you'll see, we're not taking tons of damage. We've taken a bit, and you're going to take a bit, alright, unless you're like super pro at PvP. But with these fire arrows, we're going pretty good. Now in terms of the fire arrows, let's just have a look real quick how many we've actually shot. We've still got 57 left, so we haven't even shot that many to get him down to this much health. So if you manage to get somewhere in the region of 100 fire arrows to take with you, that should be plenty. And really, if you can only get enough to take like 50, but you've got wooden arrows and flint arrows and stuff, that'll be enough as well. And that's actually how I did it the first time I did it on a live stream, which is on my channel if you are interested in watching that. But yeah, that was enough to actually get him. It just meant it took a little bit longer and there was more running away. Right, as soon as you get that message, you can eat another bite. You want to eat. Again, sounds obvious, but in the heat of battle, you might forget that. So be prepared for that message to come up. Be sort of waiting for it. And you can see we've eaten our honey, and that's going to give us the biggest buff at this stage. And right now, he is down to only having about 1/3 of his health left. So I would say this has been quite a successful fight so far. Like, we're doing pretty good, and we're back up to 73 health now. As he comes here, we're just going to get out of the way of that attack as best we can and get him down those last few hit points to defeat him. So, as I say, this first boss, guys, is not as difficult as what you might anticipate if you haven't fought him before, or if you're new to this game. I would say just make sure that you do a bit of archery practice. This will increase your archery skill, so practice on boar and deer and stuff like that, and even the little goblin things, you know, before you come and attack him, because it will increase your skill, which means you'll do more damage and all that sort of stuff. But also, you want to get familiar with how to use the bow and get your own sort of personal skill up on that as well. Guys, he's dead. That is it. So once we defeat him, this is what happens, right? We get this little sort of graphic here, and everything goes back to normal. Now, because this isn't the first time I've done it, it's a little bit different for me, but you'll see in the bottom left-hand of my screen there, you'll get the Eikthyr ability as well, which you can activate using F. Now, I didn't want to do that during this fight, because obviously that would be a bit cheaty, because if it's your first time, you won't be able to do that. But that is how it works. And guys, we only actually got through 1 bow, but I do highly recommend you take 2, because you can see it was pretty close to going to 2. So then when you defeat him, you'll get the trophy, and you'll also get some hard antlers. So that's what you get as a reward for fighting the boss. Once you have the Eikthyr trophy that I showed you guys before, what you need to do is come back to your spawn point, which of course is marked like this on the map. So once you're here, obviously you've been here before, you have something that looks a bit like this, but you need to find the rock that's got the deer on it, and you'll be able to hang the trophy up. Now, I can't do that because I've already done it before, but if it's your first time, of course, you will be able to do that. And once that is the case, once that's up there, you'll have the little icon down in the bottom left that I showed you guys before, and you'll be able to access your Eikthyr ability in the future. I hope this helped you out, and if it did, or if you like Valheim, please do consider liking and subscribing for many more Valheim tutorials and Let's Play videos, and do check out my Twitch if you're interested in seeing me live stream Valheim. For now though, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. If you have any questions about this game, or would like to see a certain tutorial in the future, please do let me know down in the comments, and I will try to sort that out for you.